What was
I
that?
can't even remember what we were talking about.
We're talking about holes. Rick and
Holes.
Morty
Yeah, I
and
feel like
hole.
Rick and Morty, they talk about holes too much. It's just like, eye holes. Oh, I love your eye holes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah,
Just,
it's like they always talk about, okay, yeah, it's either the portal or they're talking about, like, I don't know. They talk
yeah,
about their eyes. They talk about their pupils quite a few times, right? Because
yeah.
it looks like
Talk
little
about their
splats or
pupils.
whatever.
Yeah, they talk about, I don't know, it's just like wormholes, assholes, eye
All kinds of
holes,
holes.
all kinds of holes.
Dig
I
it
think,
up, my
Justin
power.
Roiland is obsessed with that. And
Oh, Justin.
Dan Harmon for sure. Uh, uh, I'm killing Michael today. I'm just
let's
killing him
get it
today.
out there. All right.
Yeah.
Comment back up. All right.
Dude, yeah.
Oh yeah, I drank coffee right before this world. So actually I'm still
Yeah.
drinking as we go, and
Right. I'm just
I'm being a
drinking
little
water, to keep my mouth hydrated. Because
yeah.
like every time I talk, like when we talk for this amount of time for this long, I'm like, it's like,
It's like frick. Okay. Oh yeah.
cool. So,
There we go.
shall we talk about Cobra Kai?
You're the
Or
best, sir.
yeah, it's like back in the game. it's like 80s nostalgia. It's
Dude,
like late 80s, beginning of the 90s, or was it just like full on 80s? I can't remember.
I don't know. They treat this like it was full on 80s because
Yeah,
like I know Karate Kid was like the entire franchise was like the end of the 80s to like somewhere in the beginning of the 90s or whatever. But like
yeah,
Johnny Lawrence's story begins and ends in the first one. And
yeah.
in the second one, he's around for a while and he's like, I quit Cobra Kai. So
I'm a nice guy now.
yeah. So maybe that's
like,
maybe that's why they're so 80s obsessed in this show is that like
I guess.
you never really see what he's up to in the 90s in the series.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess like in the 90s, he just like meets his, the mother of his child and like gets her pregnant and like, no, actually like, I saw it like actually like he has a kid in 2002 apparently, like that's what he says, like I was here in 2002.
Oh, that's when
whatever.
his kid
Yeah,
Robbie,
when his
that's
kid
when
Robbie
was born,
is born. And but like I mean I haven't watched any of the Karate Kid movies in a while. I think I watched them when I was like a kid and probably like
a Karate
last
Kid.
time I saw them was like
no, okay.
I mean like the original ones, not the Jackie Chan version, but
yeah. Oh wait, the first three were all in the 80s. Never mind. Okay,
yeah.
so it's pretty spot on to be very in your face 80s in this movie.
But I actually like Cobra Kai better than Karate Kid. Like honestly, I know it's like it's a TV show, it's a different format, but like you actually have some depth. I mean more depth, right?
No, like Cobra Kai is like the show nobody expected would be as good as it was, and like it had a moment like the cast would go on talk shows and talk about it and stuff, and then it faded away because YouTube originals couldn't really follow it up. I think the only other show they had that was like somewhat comparable in
I think it was like
buzz.
a dance thing, right?
Yeah, it was.
Like
Yeah, it was the Step Up, but
Step Up.
But it was like Cobra Kai was basically it for YouTube. So
Yeah,
I'm
well,
kind of surprised that they were willing to. I mean, they didn't let it go. Last time I checked, it's still on YouTube. So,
okay.
But
I guess maybe they're releasing it. They're releasing it to Netflix. It's just like, hey, you can watch that. But I don't know. It's like Cobra Kai was the only reason I like did the free trial for YouTube. What's it called? Like YouTube Originals or YouTube TV or whatever it's called. And like, yeah. I mean, we were talking about this before, but I created new like Gmail accounts just to be able to watch like the season. Well, like two. I had like my original Gmail that I did the free trial with for the first season. Then I did it again with another Gmail account. for the second season, because like, you know, that I only wanted to watch that. I didn't want to watch any of the rest, you know, any of the other shows that they had, which were
like they had one with like Logan Paul or something, and I was like,
yeah, I mean, the thing is, they had one with Logan Paul, they had one with Liza Koshy, they had one with what's his name, PewDiePie, but that didn't last because he you know, imploded.
He's PewDiePie.
Yeah. He imploded for like a couple of months or something, and then, but he's still the highest, you know, the YouTuber with the highest number of subscribers still.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that didn't change much, I guess, but I think he lost a lot of deals because of that. But it's like he had a Disney deal or something, and
well,
it was crazy.
Well, Disney, I feel like they still have no idea how to handle influencers, because I remember when they like bought Maker Studios and they were trying to blow up like epic rap battles of history and all this other stuff, and they weren't able to, one, please the creators, or two, blow up any of their content any bigger, or make any of those artists more profitable than when they were independent.
Yeah, but I think they're not the only ones. It's like you know, when like CNN bought like years ago, I think they bought something that Casey Neistat started. Like he started this app called Beam.
Yeah.
And like and I think he had a YouTube show with that, and they were just like reporting the news and stuff like that. And like when they bought it, like they essentially like, I think, assimilated whatever worked for them, and then everything else that kind of worked like didn't really work anymore. So it's kind of, yeah, you know, I feel like anything that works on YouTube, like in a purely, you know, internet centric, like social media, you know, platforms, they don't work with like it's hard for these like huge production companies, and you know, Disney, and what's like CNN is like what, Verizon Media or something, and or like Viacom, I can't remember. But,
no, CNN is Time Warner, or Warner Media. Who are you people? Who's what?
Yeah, and
who are you people?
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's like, I think it kind of extends to like a lot of the personalities that work on YouTube don't work on real life TV, in my opinion, most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to make it work. I remember Kev Jumbo was like he was a personality on Cartoon Network for a little bit. Nika Higa, I remember he had something in theaters at some point, but yeah, they haven't figured out how to like make it work bigger than being an influencer. And frankly, I don't know if that's really necessary.
I don't know. Well, it's like I don't think it's that necessary. I mean, like there was like a girl on YouTube, like her name was like Akana. I can't remember what her first name was, but like she plays like she's been an actress in a lot of like she was an actress in Ant-Man. She was like an extra or something. Not an extra, but like she made a cameo or something. And she's the guy who tells a friend of a friend of Luis that someone is looking for Ant-Man, like at the end of the movie.
Okay.
You know, I'm this super hot chick, and like she was telling me like, hey, you know this Ant-Man guy? Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh
wait, yeah, the one like during the okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, well, during that little ramble at the end.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you know, I think we were talking about Work It a couple of weeks ago, and like Liza Koshy, she played her role well in Work It, you know, because I know she had her own show on YouTube, which, I mean, I didn't really watch a whole episode, but I watched a little bit, whatever was free to watch, and I was like, you know, this is like textbook sitcom with like, you know, 2 cameras. And then like almost generic laughter, like, you know, it's kind of like that kind of stuff. And I was like, this isn't interesting.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't.
She transfers to Nickelodeon really well though for Double Dare, Liza Koshy.
I guess, so. Yeah. I haven't watched that, so I'll take your word for it.
I'm a kid at heart. I don't know, but
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
So season 1 and 2, they are on Netflix at the moment. They're number 1 on the top 10 list.
It is the best around.
It is the best. It beat Legend of Korra. It beat all that shit. It beat Project Power.
I don't know.
Project Power stayed number 1 for a while, actually.
Netflix has this weird ability of like whatever is like, somebody on Quora or something put it the best, is that they're the best at getting anything from any era and making it like the thing of the week, the thing you have to watch. So it's like with Cobra Kai, like it had a moment on YouTube, but it got forgotten really quick. But I had a feeling that at least for a few days it was going to come, like people were going to get excited that it exists on Netflix.
Honestly, I think YouTube TV or whatever it's called was holding Cobra Kai back, you know, because like a lot more people are subscribed to Netflix than YouTube TV, whatever, because like you have so many shows on Netflix and on YouTube, like you're like, you know, you had like Step Up and whatever, but then like season 3 is going to come out at the end of September, I think, like the 27th or something, if I'm not mistaken, but it's going to come out. I think that's why like they want people to catch up during the whole month before they release season 3.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I'm wondering if they were planning to go to Netflix for a while and if the 3rd season was co-produced with Netflix or if they already had season 3 like they already recorded it, but
I don't know.
But I guess YouTube was already ready to give it to Netflix, or Netflix was trying to buy it at the time.
Probably. I think like, because if I'd stayed at YouTube, I mean, they used to publish the episodes like around June. Like it was always like June, like once a year during June. And now I don't know if it's because of the production, if the production was, you know, delayed because of COVID, but you know, I think probably like, I don't know. I think Netflix is going all in on Cobra Kai, and I think it's paying off. So and I'm happy for it, because honestly, I don't want to create another fake Gmail account to get one free week of YouTube bullshit, whatever it's called. So it's like, you know, but I forgot how good it was, because I only get to watch that like once a year. So I forgot how good it was. Yeah.
And I mean, like, for those of you who didn't watch it, season 1, it's about Johnny Lawrence, the villain,
the blonde guy
from the first movie.
Yeah, from the first Karate Kid movie, who loses to the Karate Kid in the final. You know, it's funny how they talk about the Valley. Kind of reminds me of how they talk about the Valley in Kung Fu Panda. It's like, we must defend the Valley.
What if that was intentional? Maybe.
What if it's like a trope of every kung fu, karate, you know, martial arts movie,
either a valley
there's
or
a valley
mountain
that you have to protect or like, you know, or rule over, or just have supremacy over the valley.
Valley or mountain,
artist, you know, or a mountain, or maybe it's like just 2 mountains, and it's like, I will conquer Mount whatever, and like across the valley, you know. It's really like, So it's,
and then I mean, like, the cool thing of this is that he has the twist in this is that he's he's training a kid named Miguel who's getting bullied at school. And over the time, Cobra Kai becomes like the dojo to go to if you've been bullied in school. So whereas in the movie it was all these like good looking dudes that are like really like in shape and stuff, it's literally like all nerds in Cobra Kai.
The thing is, like, it started out like because it started out as a way for these kids, like these nerds, and to, you know, to defend themselves against bullies. But then, like, as time goes on, they become more and more, they turn into the bullies themselves. Not, you know, it's sort of like, because of the whole Cobra Kai philosophy of like, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. And Autobots, no. Autobots. No, it's like, no mercy for the Decepticons. No, it's, you know,
and season 2 actually delves into that deeper. And spoiler alert for those who didn't watch it, John Kreese comes back. The
Sensei
teacher
Kreese.
for Cobra, Sensei from the first movie. He comes back, and he and Johnny Lawrence have like different ideas of Cobra Kai. Like, Kreese wants it to be that, like, no, you're gonna be the bully.
It wants to be the original Cobra Kai, where it's like, you know, no mercy, like when you lose, you never really lose because the fight is only over when you say it's over, kind of thing. And it's just like being a horrible person. And it's just like, being a bully. And the thing is, like, Johnny Lawrence, he's still kind of traumatized by, I mean, all those years ago, he was, I would say, like, semi-abused by Sensei Kreese. I mean, like, not, like, abused in a violent sense, because, like, it was like, are you a winner? Yeah. I am a winner. And I was like, you're not a loser. You're acting like a pussy. It's like, they're always saying stuff like that. And you're like, the kid's like halfway, he's like drowning in his own tears. And it's like, you're a winner. It's like, what are you? I'm a winner. And, it's sort of like, trauma, 101.
And the funny thing is that, like, you find out that because you had like what builds Cobra Kai, like the foundation of Cobra Kai is basically those like conspiracy theories about Karate Kid that built over the years. Like, what if Johnny Lawrence was the good guy? And you find out in the show that he legitimately thought he was bullied by the main
you get it from his you get it from his side, and it's like
he legitimately thought he was like the good guy the whole time.
Like Danny LaRusso, the Karate Kid, he's the guy who stole his girlfriend. He sucker punched him out of nowhere. Because like he pushed him, like he just pushed him on the beach, and the guy punches the other guy. Yeah. And and there's this whole thing where like he was the one who was being like bullied, and he according to him, like the Karate Kid was the one who was ruining his life and not the other way around.
Right.
And which, like, I don't know if fans of How I Met Your Mother out there, like Barney Stinson's a big fan of Karate Kid, but like he always took Johnny Lawrence's side. Yeah. And they actually have cameos of like the two actors from Karate Kid, like Johnny Lawrence, and like, I don't know, like there's an episode where like they invite the guy who plays Danny LaRusso to his birthday, and then Barney Stinson goes like crazy. It's like, that's not the real Karate Kid. The real Karate Kid is Johnny Lawrence. Like that's a whole thing. So like I keep remembering that. As like, yeah, dude, like Barney Stinson would be like loving this right now in his fictional world. But it's kind of, like Michael is totally surprised right now. Like,
oh no, I'm actually like looking up the images. I actually thought this was the first time.
He actually showed up.
I actually thought this was like the first time he put on the Cobra Kai gi in like years, but
no, he didn't wear the gi, but like he just showed up at Barney's birthday.
In this picture he's wearing the gi. Like,
oh really?
Hold on, yeah.
Oh man. Okay, we got no, it's like but then it's like, so when Sensei Kreese comes back, like he kind of but it's really smart how the show is written, because it's always about people not communicating because of their pride, because of like their anger, and like they judge too quickly, which every time that something could fix the situation, like every time someone comes to talk to the other side, like they see something that pisses them off, and then they walk away, and then they never have that sort of like powwow of just burying the hatchet kind of thing. And because like one time it's like because there's a whole love triangle between because Johnny Lawrence has a son called Robbie in the TV show, and there's a whole love triangle between his son and his student, and Daniel LaRusso's daughter, who's also a karate enthusiast. So it's like there's so much in this TV show. It's just like, it kind of surprised me the first time I saw it. It was like, there's so much going on.
And like, the thing is, really like, I love that they actually like fully go into the 80s camp and somehow pile on nostalgia and Easter eggs and like wink jokes without it feeling, even though it's a lot, I don't know how they do it, but they organize it in a way that it doesn't feel like it's too overbearing or too much, or when it is, it fits. It's like the right amount of being grounded and being like over the top. Like it's over the top when it needs to be, and it's grounded when it needs to be. So
but I think it's like, the central, I think the central character that makes that work is Johnny Lawrence, because he's stuck in the 1980s. Like he doesn't know how to set up his own Wi-Fi. He doesn't know how to use a computer. Like when someone talks to him, like he calls the pawn shop when he needs help with his internet, because he bought an HP computer from like 1999 or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, how do I connect? What's a browser? I was like, what's Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
It's like he's like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And he's always like, oh, you're listening to this shit? Why don't you listen to Guns N' Roses? What's Guns N' Roses? I'll pretend you didn't say that.
Yeah. Dude, one of my favorite gifs right now is Johnny Lawrence saying, send it to the internet. Because there's a scene when he makes his own commercial and he's like, put a hash brown at the end.
Yeah, hash brown.
Send it to the internet.
And send it to the internet. It's like he doesn't know like hashtags or just like hash brown. Put some hash browns at the end of it.
But the weird thing is that like the big joke about this is that Ralph Macchio, or what is it? Yeah, Ralph Macchio and Johnny Lawrence, their whole thing is that it's like an over-the-top representation of like a midlife crisis.
Yeah, kind of, right? Yeah, I didn't think about it that way, but it's totally true. But it's like they're both it's sort of like they've been separated for years, and then when they meet each other, like Ralph Macchio, who plays like the character name's like
Daniel LaRusso,
Daniel San, Daniel LaRusso, Daniel San, and he's like this big, super, big success story. Like he's a car salesman who's like he's rich.
And it's weird, even though he's the antagonist, he's still the good guy. It's like
the thing is, like, he's a good guy, but he's also a bad guy because like he doesn't take like his prejudice against Johnny Lawrence is so like deep that he can't think, even have like he doesn't even consider that maybe Johnny Lawrence, he's like he's in he's in a bad place in his life and he needs to get up again, and he's starting his own business, he's trying to survive. And Danny LaRusso is always like trying to get in the way because he thinks like Cobra Kai is bad, whatever. Which it is, but it's sort of like, but it didn't start out that way at the beginning. You
actually find out that they kind of need each other's ideologies. Like Daniel LaRusso needs a little Cobra Kai because he's so passive, but then Johnny Lawrence also needs some Miyagi-Do.
I'm gonna say this up front before season 3 comes out. I think they're going to merge, and it's going to be called Miyagi Kai.
Yes, actually, okay. I didn't think of the name, but I am so convinced that they're going to merge, and there's going to be a bigger thing sometime.
Because it's going to be Cobra Kai versus because spoiler alert for the end of season 2. Like, did you see the end of season 2?
Yep.
Okay, so essentially, Johnny Lawrence gets thrown out of Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
He gets, Cobra Kai gets taken over by its original sensei, who's a real asshole, Sensei Kreese. And, and he indoctrinates his own students against like Johnny Lawrence.
Yeah.
Because like, and the Hawk or whatever, like, Eli, like, he's like he turns into the biggest asshole of the whole TV show.
He's basically like the Harvey Dent of this.
Yeah, on par with like Kreese, but like Kreese is like his evil is deep, and Hawk is just like he's misguided, I guess. But it's because he was like the most bullied kid because he has like a thing on his lip, like he has a condition, and in the end he's like he becomes the biggest asshole on like the heart,
him I'm worried about. Everybody else is like, it's weird because like you never really, the weird thing is I don't buy Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence as enemies, and I don't know if it's because the actors just have a natural chemistry or something. Maybe. But it's like I don't buy them as like hating each other. And the things the moments I like in the show too are when they're kind of discovering technology together, because it's like oddly accurate for like
for people their age,
their age trying to like figure out. Like the first thing Johnny Lawrence goes to when he discovers the internet is in the first season him and Daniel were on Facebook, like Facebook stalking Ali, and in the second season Johnny Lawrence just looks up porn and conspiracy theories.
I think it's like he starts with like he Google searches hot babes, and then he goes like wet shirt competitions. Then he ends up on like probably some like the dinosaurs build the pyramids, like conspiracy theory. It's pretty funny because it's like the first place someone who doesn't have like, it's like going down the rabbit hole of the internet, and someone who's not versed in the internet will totally go down there and click on whatever links pop up.
Yeah.
And
the conspiracy theory part was like, yep.
I was like, yep.
I knew it. Yeah.
It's like, hey, watch like 10 slides about like the worst conspiracy theories out there. Yeah. It's like an endless, it goes deep. But it's like, but I think Allie's gonna make a cameo in season 3. I think
they're trying to like coerce.
Because I think they foreshadowed that, right?
They foreshadowed it throughout season 1 and season 2. So in a weird way, I feel like they're like trying to coerce her to coming into like the show. Like, come on, it's gonna be important. Yeah.
Come on, it's like, hey, but what I really like about the show is that they got all the original actors. Those were still living. But it's like, they got the original guy who played Kreese, Johnny Lawrence, Danny LaRusso. And I'm really hoping that they get like the actual actress who played Allie. Yeah. And then but then what's cool is that you have all these new characters, the teenagers and Danny LaRusso's wife, who thinks he's totally insane because of all the karate shtick, kind of stuff he's into. Yeah. Like, you're acting like a crazy dude.
And I like how like in like one of the episodes in season 2, like the second there's like they're starting to kind of like side comment each other. Like Danny LaRusso's wife was like, all right, this is what we're doing. like I like that they nip it in the bud right there. Like, all right, this is the part of the show we're on. Okay.
Yeah. It was, honestly, I think my favorite episode is the one where Johnny Lawrence goes on a biking trip with his friends, like, because one of his friends, like, I think they're the original actors from the first Karate Kid. Yeah. And one of them, thing is, they've all aged, they're all like middle-aged now. And one of them is dying from cancer. Yeah. And like, they go do this big, like, he doesn't want to die in the hospital. So he's like, let's go, on the road, do a road trip, like one last road trip. And that's just like really cool how they, like, you see how they're, how they've stayed friends through all the years. And they actually tell him, like, they warn him about Kreese. And this is like near the end of, a few episodes before the end of season 2. So like, they're telling him like, you have to be careful with this guy. Like he's, but it's because they sort of know that Kreese is a big asshole. And I mean, like, Johnny Lawrence knows that, but he wants to give him a second chance.
Yeah.
Because, like, for better or for worse, he is kind of like his father figure in a way.
And Johnny Lawrence, you find out, is kind of a softie.
Yeah,
like,
he's a softie.
He's like a big heart. Yeah. He's kind of like the Grinch.
Yeah. He's like he's a teddy bear inside, and he wants to give people the benefit of the doubt, because I think a lot of people never give him that. And Danny LaRusso included, like he doesn't give him the benefit of the doubt, like even if it's like 30 years later, or like even 40 years later. So it's like, he believes in second chances, and he says so in that episode. But it's like, I think the only student in Cobra Kai who still has like some misgivings about Kreese is Miguel, who was Johnny's first student, and who's like, and they have like a father-son thing going on. Yeah. And Johnny kind of likes, I think, like Miguel's mom starts to fancy Johnny and like, I think, in each other or something. And, there's a whole thing. And, at the end of the season, it's like the end of season 2 is really heartbreaking. Yeah, because like some shit happens. I don't want to spoil everything, but
I mean, before the heartbreaking part, though, I will say you want to watch until the end of season 2. Like, let's just say they don't repeat, and they intentionally don't repeat how the first season ended. And I like this a lot. Like, let's just put it this way:
it's a cliffhanger, is what it is.
Yeah, but before the cliffhanger, the part I said earlier about like, it knows when to be over the top and when to be grounded. When they go over the top, it's like you'll love it. I'll just say that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There's a huge part. Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, why would two thing is it's very reminiscent of like old like samurai movies that I used to watch. Like, there's like the samurai trilogy. It's always like one school against the other. Like one school of like, like sword fencing school. It's always like, oh, the honor of the school and everything. And it's like really over the top. And it's the same thing there. It's like Miyagi-Do versus Cobra Kai and like,
and then what is it? Stingray comes.
Stingray.
You'll meet Stingray later.
You'll meet Stingray when
like he just shows
7 or something.
Yeah, but when he just shows up like during that over the top finale scene, he's like,
"Call me Stingray.
Like, I got this.
Got this." It's like the Cobra waits and strikes.
I think I'm gonna watch that scene after we record this.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna finish season 2 again. But it's like, I think I always liked Karate Kid, but I was never like a huge fan of that movie. Like my brother was a bigger fan of that. It was more of like he's older than me, so it's like I think he was closer to Danny LaRusso's age at the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, it's cool, it's fun, but then like I wouldn't want to watch that. I didn't want to like binge that like over and over again. But like Cobra Kai, man, it's just like keeps you coming back for more. So it's okay, really cool.
Cool. All right.
And I don't know, like, should we just talk about Bill and Ted for a second before we end?
Yeah, for a brief second. Another piece of 80s nostalgia that came out this week.
Totally different vibe. Like the whole lesson there is like to be excellent towards each other. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the pose while I'm doing that. Like, yeah. So, right. So like Bill and Ted Face the Music came out on Friday on like VOD. I think you can rent and buy it. Like I bought it because honestly, the difference in price was like not that huge, and honestly I'd rather pay like $20 to watch it forever than to watch it for like only 3 days. And honestly, like it was worth the money. Like I'm gonna watch that movie again, and it's stupid but in a good way. And it's like it's one of those comedies where you feel good at the end. It's like it just like teaches you to be excellent, man. And
I mean, like the weird thing I found about this is that I guess they just started bringing back a few years ago. Was it Orion Pictures?
Yeah.
And the thing that I found weird is that like when they were advertising it, even before COVID, it felt like it was like a smaller independent movie, and I was like, but Bill and Ted is like this. It's like a franchise. It's like a really well-known franchise with well-known actors, and I was wondering why it had such this like scrappy independent feel. But I'm starting to think that I feel like it needs that. Like Bill and Ted as a franchise needs to feel like scrappy and independent.
Yeah, but I mean, like, for sure, I think their budget was way higher than the than the budget they had back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it keeps that kind of low tech vibe because they still use the phone booth to go through time.
Wait, really?
And yeah. And but then there's some modern time travel stuff as well, but it still feels like a Bill and Ted, a Bill and Ted movie. And they like, I think same thing that they did with Cobra Kai. Like they have the same actors. Like there's an actor who played Death and when they go to hell, like in the second movie, same actor there. They have like the guy who plays I think it's like Bill's dad, like same guy. It's like they got like the whole team back together. And you have I can't remember what their names were, but like they each have a daughter, and one is called like Theodora, and the other one is called like I guess the female version of Bill. I don't know, Williamina. I can't remember.
Williamina
or something. So it's like, and they do their best like Bill and Ted impressions. Yeah. So it's like. So it's like, it's really fun. It's like the whole premise of the story is that Bill and Ted, I think in the older movies, like it was prophesized that they would save the world with like a kick-ass song. Mm-hmm. And this is them coming up with a kick-ass song.
Yeah. I mean, like I saw at least from the previews, they're like they play it like at like really shitty bars or something, right? Or
Yeah. Thing is, like, because they've been, it's sort of like, 20 years later, or 30 or 40 years later after the last movie, like, they haven't managed to write that amazing song, and they still play at weddings and shit, and they haven't had a huge single hit, like in years. And then, like, essentially someone from the future shows up and says, like, you have to write this song that will unite the world and save reality in 70 minutes. Which is like the runtime of the whole movie. So it's like really, it's really well done, but like the time travel doesn't make any sense, but like it's not supposed to. So like, don't think too hard about how time travel works in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, like, if the first movie set the rules, it's like, please don't expect, like, I mean, if the first movie has to do with dragging historical figures through a mall, it's like
what's like, so what Bill and Ted do, so they're like, this doesn't spoil too much, but like their journey is trying to visit their future selves to see, like, if they wrote the song, because like, since it's in the future, they probably know what the song was. So so they go into the future to ask, and then like every time, like, they never find the right, they don't go far enough into the future to find the versions of Bill and Ted that have the song. Right. And their daughters essentially like hijack the modern time travel machine to find historical figures who are like big game-changing musicians of their time, to form the band that will save the world, essentially. So that's like, so it's pretty fun, and it's just like, the one word I would use to describe this movie is just fun. And the second word would be stupid, but but it's like fun, but like stupid good, And Keanu Reeves acting like as an idiot is just like the best thing I've seen in years.
He's back finally.
He's back.
He's
finally.
Back to doing those, like,
dude. There's a whole arc with their wives, because they're like codependent or something, like they don't act independently like Bill and Ted. It's always like, we love you, instead of saying I love you to their wives, so it's always like, we love you. Bill, do you want to tell your wife that you love her? Yeah. I just want you to tell from the bottom of our hearts that we love both of you, So it's like,
I like that Keanu Reeves is going back to his roots of that.
Yeah. Like, I feel like he was trying to avoid looking like he did Bill and Ted, and then he tried his best to get away from that. Like he did Speed, Matrix, John Wick, all that stuff, 47 Ronin, like,
it's funny because like there's like a Hot Topic nearby where I live, and they play the SpongeBob movie trailer on loop, which means every 3 minutes you see Keanu Reeves' face in a tumbleweed just talking. I'm like, that's the one I know. That's the Keanu Reeves.
That's the Keanu Reeves we all want to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, like, I don't know about you guys out there, if you like torrenting, like if you're looking for something to torrent, I'm not saying that you should torrent, but I'm saying if you want to watch a movie that's fun, you should watch Bill and Ted Face the Music. And honestly, I don't know. It might be the best. I don't know. Maybe the best since the first one.
The second one, I don't remember a whole lot from it. That's why. I just know that
there are a few plot points that, thing is, I'll be honest, I haven't seen any. I think I never saw the second one. I think I saw parts of the first one.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched, and I couldn't remember half of it, so like if you haven't watched any of the Bill and Ted movies, you don't need to watch Bill and Ted 1 and 2 to get what's going on. And they do a pretty good. They do a pretty good job at, telling you what happened in the past, what's happening now. It's I don't think you need any prior knowledge to understand to get the plot of the movie. Yeah. So it actually explains a lot about what happened in the previous movies, because some things, because death is back, and death helped them go back from escape hell.
Yeah.
And there's a whole thing about like how he got demoted after that in hell. So so it's like, it's fun. It's a fun movie.
Nice.
And yeah, I would even say it's like a family safe movie. Like they don't, no cuss words or anything, or Yeah. So it's good. It's good. I'm saying it's good. Watch it. Good.
Enjoy. Damn it.
Enjoy.
And on that note,
thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you for listening. And
the what? Yeah. So thank you for listening.
Here, let me pause. Wait.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks you guys for listening. And before we leave, we just want to say a few words about I guess what we
Chadwick
found out
Boseman.
yesterday about Chadwick Boseman.
I was really shocked because I mean we're recording this on a Sunday, so like I realized like yesterday morning when I woke up, and really sad, but
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, we talk about like MCU so much on this podcast that it's like it's weird how sometimes it just feels it over time you can't help but to feel like a lot of these guys are like invincible, and it's just kind of sad knowing, like, I don't know, the thing is, like, you never really know what people are going through like behind the scenes, especially because like everything's so public now, especially in like celebrity world, and that's probably why this kind of just shocked a lot of people because it wasn't really public.
I think they did a really good job at keeping this private, and I think it was probably, I mean, it was I think it gave him some privacy and just like time to just like not deal with all the bullshit, that might come with doing it public, saying it out publicly, and just like, I think, it was a real, gut punch. I don't know how to say that differently.
No, yeah, it's gonna take a while, honestly, to like really find the words, I would say, about this. One thing I don't like is that, I guess, like on social media and stuff, like right after the news came out, because like my girlfriend sent me the article like pretty much like 5 minutes after, I guess, some of the articles were starting to get posted about it, and people were already kind of like speculating about Black Panther 2 and stuff, and I'm like, who cares? Like,
I mean, right now,
got
like,
kind of
it's like because like I actually heard that I think his last live action performance for a movie was going to come out like on Monday on Netflix or something, where he plays a trumpet player, I think, and they decided to push it back because he died, and it's like, I understand people going there, but it's so fast, like it's really, why, I don't blame you for thinking about it, but just like talking about it and trying to get some buzz or something around just like, oh, what's gonna happen? And they're like, dude, just, it's in bad taste, but
it's like, what gives me hope is that a lot of people from like different walks of life are really like saying truly from their heart, rest in peace, because this was a great time, great actor, like very humble, and it's just sad. What gives me hope is that there was more of that happening than like anything like negative or so. Like it's like this man was really well respected, like as a man of like his craft, and it's just I don't know, it's just it's just sad. He was like an up and comer. I think one of the first things I saw him in was Get On Up, when he played James Brown, and like talent shouldn't like dictate like how you're seen in life and stuff, but when you see how much he was able to like command attention as a lead, it's like you don't see that often anymore. I don't know. That real ability to just command.
Well, the thing is, it's like, the first time I I saw Chadwick Boseman in a movie was probably, I guess, Civil War, I guess, or the first time that I actually recognized the name. I was like, okay, this guy's called Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
You know, I guess most people, I guess it was the case for most people as well, but it was sort of like, you know, he really commanded, you know, every scene he was in. Is just like, you know, he took all the space that you know, it's like he was very imposing as an actor and as the character, and he did that very well. But but like in other movies, he kind of does the same thing. It's always like there's like so much charisma, you know,
like the
Five
Five
very
Bloods.
charismatic guy.
In the Five Bloods, I can tell you, like, it felt like something was missing when he wasn't on screen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to describe it, but it's like that level of like talent and just attention to the craft and just the kind of impact he made as Black Panther. And therefore, like, a lot of kids growing up, that's kind of like their image of like a superhero.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. It's just sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, yeah, it's a very sad thing. And, you know, I don't want to speculate about the future of whatever. Just want to recognize the guy.
Yeah.
For how talented he is, how many lives he's touched through his, you know, through his work. Mm-hmm. And he will definitely be like missed times, you know, infinity. So yeah. On that note, thanks guys for listening. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. We're a bit everywhere nowadays. And you know, follow us on Instagram at What We Binge. That's at What We Binge. Hey, you know, tell your friends if you like us. You know, we always appreciate having more listeners, and you know, and yeah, that's it from me, Mike.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, we're everywhere: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify,
Breaker,
Anchor,
Radio Public, Anchor. I think we have like something cast.
Yeah.
Anything that has cast in the name. Clearcast, no, like Castbox. Yeah, Castbox. We are on Castbox. But yeah. See you next week.
Yeah.
Peace, guys.
Peace.